July 24th, 2026. Dear Anxious Me. Have you ever been able to pinpoint when something is making you anxious? Usually it seems that the feeling just sneaks up on me, but today was different. Today I was in my office, much like I am now, and I was doing some writing. And as I was doing some writing, I was communicating with a friend. This friend was helping me dive deeper into the story I was trying to tell. She asked all the right questions. She laughed at the right places. I thought that she was getting the story. When I asked her to regurgitate the story to me, it sounded tremendously different. She meant well. She really was just trying to help. But in that moment, all I felt was anxiety. I felt like she was erasing me and taking away my voice. I felt like in that one instance, I would disappear. She was erasing me to take it over. And I panicked. In my panic, I started to shut down, which is typical of me when I'm being anxious. I pick at my fingers. I count things in the room. I stare at something to try to calm myself down. Sometimes it works. Most times it doesn't. But I tried. I made every attempt to make the feeling go away. But it didn't go away. And it didn't go away because, again, I felt like I was being erased. And then it made me think how often I get anxious for that reason. My feelings aren't being heard. I'm not being seen. I'm just being erased. I recognize a lot of the times that I'm anxious, that's the feeling behind it. That's not to say that's every time, but I could acknowledge it's most times. I can't help but feel like I'm not important to people, that I'm unseen and unheard. I know that it's far from the truth. I have several people who see me and hear me and love me, but it doesn't always reconcile in my head. I still somehow end up feeling alone. Today, when I got that way, when I felt that way, I started to shut down. My thought was, I don't like this feeling. I don't like what's being said. I don't like what's being done. I can acknowledge my friend didn't mean to do it. It wasn't her intent at all. She was just simply trying to help me, as I asked. But it didn't help. It made me feel small. Instead of being able to talk through that feeling, all I wanted to do was shut down. I immediately thought if she was changing it, I wasn't a very good writer. I wasn't doing a good job. This was pointless. I should be done. It's like the whole world came crashing in at once. And it scared me. So many times when I get anxious, I don't know how to convey to someone why I feel that way. At this point, when I start to get anxious, my husband has determined that there's a look that I get. And he's pretty accurate about it most of the time. I start shaking myself like this, trying to shake it off, or I rub my fingernail over and over again. That's my way of trying to self-soothe before it gets out of control. It's odd to me because there are so many other things that I'm around that don't bother me. I'm a huge fan of horror movies. I love jump scares. Put me in a room with a bug, I'll freak out. The anxiety I have walking past a room that has a spider on the wall is ridiculous. But even then, I feel like it's because it's going to get me. I would love to say I understand why that fear is so prominent, why I had this belief that I'm just going to be wiped off the face of the planet and nobody's going to notice. I was processing what I was writing today, and some of it hit home really hard. Today, I taught myself about soulmates and the love of my life. I'm starting to understand those aren't always the same thing. I taught myself why I'm still here in Kansas instead of back home in California. And while I knew the answer, hearing it out loud surprised me. Today, I thought about all of the changes I've been making. All the changes I have made in the almost 43 years I've been alive. And then I recognized that I'm searching for something that was never really there. How do I trust myself? How do I believe in myself when some of the biggest decisions in my life I fumbled? You were supposed to know with your whole heart the person you're going to marry. Or so I believe. You're supposed to know what you want to accomplish, where you want to be, how your life is supposed to go. Or so I believe. That's not my life. I feel like my life has been a series of being in a box and scratching, trying to pull myself out and getting nowhere. I recognize today that as a child, I taught myself that making the people around me happy was better than processing my own emotions. If I gave them one less thing to worry about, me, then somehow I would make their life better. And when I think about it in that avenue, I essentially taught myself to be anxious about not being around. It was a learned behavior. The thought process was, if I could just make them feel better, if I could make them smile, if I could make them laugh, if I could make their day better, then they would see me. I wouldn't be erased. I think we all know that's not how that works. It's hard, mental health. It's hard looking in the mirror and seeing a physical you, but not knowing the mental you. It's hard getting out of bed every day and feeling broken. It's hard pretending you're okay for everyone else because it's safer. They don't have to worry about you. You're one less burden. And it's ridiculously easy to fool so many people. And I think that says something in and of itself. How do you say you're a part of my life, but you can't tell that something's going on? No, my expectation isn't that you're psychic. It isn't that you know my next move every time. But I'd like to think I've built up habits that would indicate to you something's wrong. Oftentimes I wonder if I were to disappear, if anyone would notice. I'm not so sure many people would. I know I have the few select people who would, because they're going to be the people who listen to the podcast and say, I notice. And they will. I know that Cheyenne will make sure that I'm okay. I know, despite the fact that Lawrence can't swim, would cross an ocean for me. I know that. I know that boyfriend would move heaven and earth for me if he could. I know Jason would get in a car and drive an hour and a half away to get me a burrito. I know that. And although I know those as facts, the feeling behind it is where the problem is. See, those of us who deal with mental health, we can see the color red, we can see the color yellow, we can see the color blue. We can acknowledge that they're red and yellow and blue. What we can't do is tell you why they feel that they're red, yellow, and blue. Well, colors don't have feelings. Well, sure they do. Colors evoke emotion all the time. My favorite color is yellow. It's a happy color. It's a bright color. That's usually how it's associated. And despite the fact that yellow has been my favorite color since I knew what colors were, it doesn't always make me feel happy or bright. Just like being in a black room doesn't instantly make me sad. My favorite time is when it's super overcast outside and it's drizzling and it's thunderstorms. Because while that weather is supposed to make me super depressed, it makes me super creative. I can acknowledge it doesn't make me want to get out of the house to go do anything, but I become so productive inside my house when that's the weather outside. It seems life is difficult for many of us. And it's difficult because of the nuances. I can feel all the feelings. I know that they're there. I don't always know how to explain them. Tonight I think I'm doing a horrible job. I know that it was an itch I couldn't scratch. Something I couldn't soothe. My mind, at best, short circuit. I just know that things are starting to shut down. I knew that something was wrong. How do you explain to anybody with any amount of words, you were just helping me, but it hurt? They didn't do anything wrong. She was being a good friend. And yet, somehow, I twisted all of that to mean I didn't matter. Her actions were the exact opposite of that. And what I heard was, I didn't matter. I didn't exist. It's scary to me. I know that I hear things differently than how they're presented. I don't mean to. It just happens. I hear people tell me they love me and they care, that I'm beautiful, that they want me. And I internalize that to be just words. I am the best at convincing myself that people are just being nice to me, but they don't mean it. I am great at convincing myself that there's nothing positive about me. And today, as I sat here processing, it just felt really sad. I wanted to trust myself, my ability to do what I was doing. I know I'm a talented writer. I've published 3 books. I wrote for my school's newspaper. I'm a great writer. I'm a great storyteller. And yet, even as I make this statement, right here, right now, my brain says, no, you're not. If you were a great writer, you would have done something by now. People would know about it. If you're a great writer, people will enjoy your writing. You don't hear nobody talking about it. It doesn't take into account, I don't tell anybody about the books that I wrote. Those facts don't matter. Again, the facts mean nothing if the emotions are telling you something else. My emotions do a lot of talking. They tell me things are going to always be like this. I'm always going to be broken. I'm always going to be diseased. Because in my head, having mental illnesses means I'm diseased. Today I met with my med provider. Quick appointment, it always is. He asks, how you're doing? I say, I'm great. Well, you look better. Thanks. Anything new? Nope. Nope. I wear my mask so well. And it's not that I'm struggling. I am doing really well. But even if I was struggling, I know I wouldn't say. My biggest fear right now is having to up the dosage of my medication or add a second one. I would lie through my teeth to avoid that. Do I recognize that doesn't help me? Yeah. Do I recognize I need the medication? Yeah. Again, those are facts. My emotion doesn't care. My emotions say, you shouldn't have to take meds to be normal. You should be good enough the way that you are. If people loved you, truly loved you, it wouldn't matter if you're medicated. It wouldn't matter that you're broken. That's generally when people remind me, but you're not broken. Well, that's generally when you take medicine, right? When something's wrong. You really take medicine for when something's right. They're not vitamins. They're not building up an immune system. They're fixing something that didn't work. I take a med for anxiety. I take an actual med and I have a PRN. And yet I still get anxious. I take a med for anxiety and a PRN and I still get anxious. So what's the point? I recognize that it dwindles the chances of me being anxious and it curbs my anxiety when I'm in that headspace. I also know that it puts me to sleep. Is it really fixing a problem if all I do is go to sleep? I can go to sleep by myself. I don't need meds for that. Hell, in depression, we could sleep all day long and we're told we shouldn't. But at least then we're avoiding the bad thoughts, the intrusive thoughts, the ones nobody wants to talk about. When I started Dear Journal, the purpose was to learn about me. And I am definitely doing that. I didn't think it was going to be in this capacity. I didn't think that hard truths would hit me as fast as they have. But they have. But they do. And some of them I really appreciate, while others I really struggle with. Yesterday was a struggle, knowing that I was chosen. Today, I was anxious, feeling like I didn't exist. It's interesting to me how the negative feeling, generally speaking, overrides the positive feeling. And I say this because even though today I felt anxious, there was far more times that I laughed, that I smiled, that I felt loved, that I remembered that I was loved and worth loving. And yet, those aren't the feelings that stuck out to me tonight. Anxious did. Here in Dear Journal, we talk about our bite of pie, the thing that we accomplished. I don't always feel like I've accomplished something big. Today, I was able to feel anxious and not give up. And for me, that's a huge win. To feel myself being erased and disappear, and to still say, I'm going to keep trying, despite those feelings, is a big deal. I guess it is that you fake it till you make it. I don't feel so anxious as I'm sitting here now talking to you. I don't feel so scared or sad or lonely. At this particular moment, there's a sense of calm. Although at points during this podcast, I felt like I was on the verge of tears. If you caught it, thanks for paying attention. And if you didn't, that's fine too. I'm really good at masking. What you can't see is me picking up my nails underneath the table. You can't hear the racing thoughts. I'm calm, and I still have racing thoughts. I can't articulate the things that happen in my head the way that I would like to. I wish that I had this big canvas where I could paint these beautiful words that would instantly invoke what I'm thinking and how I'm feeling, totally encompassing. I can't explain something to you that I barely understand myself. In most days, I barely understand me. But I keep trying. Every day, I take a little more step forward. I eat just a little more bite of pie. I hope you're doing the same. I hope that you hear me and you realize that you're not alone, that we're not hopeless, that we're not unimportant, that people notice. I don't do this just for myself. I do this because I know somewhere out there, somebody is struggling just like I am. And they hide it. They don't know how to talk about it. And it's not just that we don't know how to talk about it. We can't trust anybody to talk to them about it. We judge ourselves enough. We don't need to be judged by someone else. Tell me about it. Write it in your journal. Write it in any journal. Send an email to me. Hey, this is what I'm feeling. We could talk about it. You could be anonymous. Just know that you're not alone. I'm not alone because I have you. And you're not alone because you have me. And sometimes that has to count. So tonight, just remember, today is another page in the story. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be written. And before you close your journal tonight, ask yourself, what was your bite of pie today? Until tomorrow, love you loud.